this is the one belief that's holding you back from scaling your meta ads profitably. We use this strategy to take one of our clients from 2.6 million in a month to 9.72 million in a month, which is a 3.74 increase within the same year. So there's no reason you can't triple your business with this strategy. I'm going to show you how to get 2 to 5% conversion rates on your application forms, even if you've got 20 questions. So even if there's enormous friction. It's the same strategy here that allowed us to get these numbers from Jan to July. So within about 6 months. Okay. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Ben. I run meta ads for enterprise sales teams. So I do lead generation. We send those leads to sales teams. Those sales teams then close deals with our leads, and we then earn a revenue share on the deals closed. We run B2B ads on Meta, and we generate hundreds of leads every single month. So if we look at Jan, July, I put ad spend up by 1.69. So I didn't even double ad spend. I added friction and made my lead cost 3 times higher. We're going to look at these numbers now. I closed 14 more deals, or rather the leads that we sent earned us 14 more deals, and we increased the LTV from 288,000 to 422,000, which is a 50% increase. So this is like going from probably $15,000 LTV. Let me just double check that. Okay, no, so it's like going from $17,000 to like, yeah, so it's basically like going from $17,000 to $30,000 in terms of LTV. So let's look here, right? Here's what's interesting. In January, we generated 581 leads. In July, we only got 321 leads. So we increased our ad spend, okay? We increased our ad spend, but because we added friction, our lead cost went up 3 times. So we got less leads in July than we did in January. But here's what's interesting. In January, we only converted 1.55% of leads. In July, we converted 7.17%. And some of the reasons is because it is an expensive B2B product with a super slow sales cycle. So if you're running ads for like home services, your conversion rate might be above 10%. You might be converting 10, maybe 20% of leads. But if you're selling like super niche, expensive, crazy stuff, maybe you're selling like commercial solar or whatever it might be, your percentage of conversion rate will probably be around 5 to 10% with Meta. Okay. So let's take a look, right? In Jan, we closed 9 deals, and in July, we closed 23 deals. Average ticket, 288K in Jan, July, 422K. So here you can see we closed 14 more deals, and then also our LTV went up by almost 50%, which is a major increase, okay? That's basically like getting 1.5 clients for every 1 client. And as you can see, we closed 2.6 million in transactions, and July we closed 9.72 million. So 2.6 million, that's probably about $150,000. Okay, it's about $160,000. And then in July, that's probably about, yeah, like 580, 590. Yeah, okay, so that's about $590,000 versus about 160. Okay, big difference. And if we look here, in Jan, I spent 35K, which is a little bit over $2,000 in ads. And July, I spent 60K, which is probably about $4,000. So my ad spend went up by 1.69. So I didn't even double ad spend. I'm going to be doubling ad spend now that the funnel is performing like this though. And if we look at my cost per lead went from 70 Rand, which is like $4, to 216 Rand, which is probably about 50, yeah, call it $14. Okay. So my cost per lead went up by over 3 times. So my cost per lead went up by over 3 times. So this is the one belief that's holding you back. You're thinking about, let me get more leads. More leads will make more sales. But sometimes less leads can make more sales. So what I want you to do in the beginning is I want you to optimize for lead flow. So what I would do is I'd optimize for lead flow, just getting as many leads as possible. I'd get 500 leads, I'd get 1,000 leads. In the 1 month this year, I got 1,400 leads, and I still did not even get 23 deals with these values. So when you're optimizing for lead flow, it's great to get some flow in the beginning. And then I want you to get some deals out of that lead flow, even if you're converting poorly. And then take what you see out of the clients that close and set up the questions on your form in a way that guides people to becoming those types of leads. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So we're going to have conversations. So we're going to focus on lead flow. So first we're going to get flow. Okay, we're just going to get volume, a lot of volume, okay, to a form. And once we close maybe, one client, two clients, and then maybe three, no, okay, I want you to take the client's information. Let's say that they're in construction or transport or mining. Maybe they're in freaking solar power or manufacturing. I want you to take those clients and I want you to then feed the commonalities between those clients back into your ads. Okay, so back into the ad, and I want you to add it to your form so that you optimize for more of those guys. Okay, because you're not going to get the campaign right from day one. Building a good campaign is all about feedback. Okay, you're gonna launch a campaign, it's going to do it right. You're going to see your KPIs, you're going to see your conversion rates, your average ticket, how much it costs to get a lead. You're going to see your conversion rates on your landing page, and then you're slowly going to adapt. And then through that adapting, you will get better results. So right now, we get anywhere between 2 to 5% on our forms. And this is not just an opt-in, this is a multi-page form. So enormous friction. So I want you to aim for somewhere between 2 to 5%. That's healthy. And then let's see what's going on down here. Cool. So that's how we did 9.72. And I want to show you how we plan on adding an extra. This is how we're planning on adding an extra. Maybe like 32. Yeah, this is how we're planning on adding an extra $32,000 with this strategy, right? So I've got another campaign. We're going to start at about 2,000 Rand a day, which is a little bit over $100 a day. Cost per application might be a lot higher because remember we added friction and grew. So now we're trying to test adding even more friction, which is adding an application fee. So we're going to test charging our leads in order to apply, and we're just going to see what that does. I estimate that it's going to take my cost per application from 216 to 1,000. So I think my cost per application will 5x. Okay, but we're going to make some money back. We'll make 88% of that money back through the application fee. And then I estimate that it will actually create a conversion rate increase from 7% to 15%. So I think my conversion rate will increase. Then in terms of LTV, this one here is 422. I estimate that my LTV is going to be much higher. So I earn a commission. I estimate that my LTV is probably going to go up by about 3x. So like 1.2 million. I think we're going to get bigger fish because of this. And then Meta is going to optimize for people who actually pay to apply. Okay. So here's what I think is going to happen. We're going to spend 2,000 bucks a day, which is 60K for the month. So we're doubling our ad spend. We're going to only get 60 leads instead of 320. So we're going to keep this funnel running, get 321, but then we're going to add 60 leads. Out of those 60, we're going to close 15%, which is 9 deals. My cost per lead is 1,000 bucks. Upfront revenue is 53K from the application fee. So I'm spending 60, I'm making back 53, so I'm losing money on the front end. But then on the back end, these 9 deals are going to be worth about 540. And if I add my upfront, That's going to be $593, which is probably about $35,000, maybe 38, no, 36. Yeah, okay. So it's an extra 36 K dollars. That's the idea. Okay. So that's what we're going to test. That's what we're going to test. And what you'll notice is that it's all a numbers game. So ads, there's two parts to running an ad. Okay, there's the creative side where you have to create content, you've got to create a hook, you've got to create visuals, and then there's two, which is the math side. Okay, and you can only start looking at the math when you've done the creative. So the first step is learning how to actually produce like a really good ad that gets good KPIs, and we'll talk about that in future videos. And then you focus on the math. Okay, then it becomes a math game. So here we actually got a DM from someone on Instagram doing about 100 million a year with a very niche B2B business. Okay, so 100 million a year. They move cargo, high ticket cranes, wind turbines, excavators, helicopters, military equipment. I believe we have the capacity for a ton more, but just need some help getting clients and market share. Do you think you could add value here? Yeah, interested in your page and what you mentioned about lead generation. Can you send through more information and see if it will be beneficial? And I told him, hey, I don't work with clients below 3 million a year. And when he sent this question, the first thing I said was, okay, what's your LTV and what's your close rate? What's your percentage of closed? Because from there, we can work out the math that we need to hit. Because if he comes to me and he says, hey, Ben, my average client is worth 2 million, that's insane, right? And if he says, hey, my average client's worth 2 million, let's actually do the math here, right? So if he says that his average client is, let's say, worth 2 million a year. So maybe he's got 50 clients and he's making 100 million a year. So let's say his client's worth 2 million a year. And let's say that his close rate is 5%. So let's say that he's only closing 5%. Here I close 7. Let's say that he's only closing 5% on new applications. Okay. That means that his break even cost per application would need to be 100,000 Rand, which is ridiculous. You're never going to get a lead for 100,000 Rand. So that means that if we're getting a cost per lead, even if we're getting a cost per lead of 1,000 Rand, okay, let's say we're getting a qualified cost per lead of $1,000 and his close percentage is 5%. That means that his CAC, his cost to get a customer, is going to be 20 times 1,000 equals 20,000. So he's paying 20,000 Rand for a client that's worth 2 million a year. Even if this client is only worth 200K per year, he still turned a 10 times over 12 months, which is phenomenal. You're never going to get a 10 times return investing in the stock market. You're never going to get a 10 times increase at a job, but you can get a 10 times return if you follow the right math and you have the right creative for your meta ads. So this is what we're going to do to add about 500K a month or 6 million a year to our business, and we're already pacing to finish a couple million per year. Yeah, so things are looking real good. And I wanted to just share this with you. Let me just see if there's anything behind here. No, we're good. Cool. So moral of the story, make good ads and then look at the math. And if the math is looking good, I experiment you to test increasing your lead quality, increasing your lead price, and getting bigger deals and a higher close rate. Bigger deals and a higher close rate will scale you to the moon. But it's all about knowing the math behind your business. So thank you so much for watching. It's been an incredible morning. We started the day with Muay Thai. We've got some meetings. I've got a ton of content that I want to put out for you guys. And my girlfriend's still here. And then later we're going to go watch the Odyssey in IMAX with my family. So really looking forward to it. But it's been an incredible month of July. We're probably going to cross that 10 million per month soon. I'm very excited to cross that 10 million per month. We're almost there. And then eventually $1 million a month, which would be, about 16.5 million. That'd be crazy. So we'll be there soon. We've got a really awesome team, really awesome guys that are building some back-end automations for us. If you have any questions, pop it in the comment. I'll be sure to answer. Have an amazing day and bye for now.